Have you ever wondered how a Roth IRA works? In this video, we will be covering a few really important facts about Roth IRAs that most Americans are not aware of and things your banker and Wall Street guy won't tell you. With that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Daniela, one of our financial experts.
Thank you, Nok. My name is Daniela. I'm one of the co-founders of My Infinite Retirement, and I'm excited to share 5 critical, important facts about Roth IRAs. And before I get started, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so that you can get notified when we upload new videos. Let's get started. Today, we'll talk about 5 must-knows about Roth IRAs. And let's just start with the basics. So what is a Roth IRA? Well, IRA actually stands for Individual Retirement Account, which means it's under your control how much you put in and how you want to invest the money. And Roth IRAs have actually been around since 1997 and were named after former Delaware Senator William Roth. And a Roth IRA is a tax-qualified special retirement account where you basically pay your taxes on the money going into the account. So the contributions are not tax deductible. In other words, contributions are made with after-tax dollars. And then all future withdrawals are tax-free once you reach retirement age, including the gains. And so look at the Roth IRA like a tax umbrella, not a product. So that makes your money grow. It just tells you how the money gets taxed, when, and so on. So remember, contributions are taxed when they go in, and when you take the money out in retirement, they are tax-free. And a lot of people seem to be confused about that part, so let me go even a little bit more into details about that. And how is a Roth different from, let's say, a regular IRA, a 401k? All right, well, let's take a look how they compare. On one side here, you have what we call the tax-deferred retirement vehicles, or pre-tax contributions. And most retirement vehicles and employer-sponsored plans work that way, like, for instance, pensions, 401ks, IRAs, and so on. And with these plans, you don't pay taxes on the contributions the year that you make them. So in other words, your contributions are a tax deduction. So for example, let's say you're earning $60,000 a year and you're contributing $5,000 into a tax-deferred account, then at the end of the year, you would only pay taxes on $55,000. Now that's assuming you had no other deductions. Now remember though, the IRS at some point is going to collect their share. And in this case, once you take the money out, usually during retirement age, you will pay taxes on all of it. And not just on your contributions, but also the gains, which usually over time, that's the bigger part. And so now you understand why the IRS just loves these plans, because they just get to tax you more later. And the Roth IRA works the other way around. So you pay taxes today, they are not a deduction. So when you do your tax returns using the same example like before, you're earning $60,000, you're contributing $5,000 to a Roth, you'd end up paying taxes on $60,000, assuming you had no other deductions. The big payoff, however, is at the end, when all the money, including the gains, is tax-free. And look at it this way. Would you rather pay taxes on the harvest or on the seeds? Well, most people would say, well, it makes more sense to pay taxes on a handful of seeds. But unknowingly, a lot of people actually prepare to pay taxes at the end on the entire harvest, which means including the gains. The next thing that we're going to look at is, how does the money inside of a Roth IRA grows? Now remember, a Roth IRA is nothing but a tax umbrella. Money gets taxed when it goes in, and then when it comes out, it's going to be tax-free. Now, of course, you have to pick a financial institution to invest your money so that it can interest and you can enjoy the tax-free gains later. And a Roth IRA can hold any asset that a traditional IRA can hold. In fact, aside from life insurance and collectible, just about any other financial asset. And so on one side, and these are just a few as an example, on one side, on the more risky side, mutual funds, stocks, bonds, ETFs, and then on the more conservative side could be annuities, CDs, money market, savings account, and the list goes on and on. All right, now I'm going to ask you a very important question, which actually will determine whether a Roth IRA is right for you or not. And this question is one of the most overlooked aspects of retirement planning, because at the end, it's not so much how much you have, but also how much you get to keep of what you have. So here is the question. Will taxes be lower or higher in the future? 10, 20, 30 years from now?
than what they are today? Most people's answer would be yes, meaning that they're going to be higher. Well, let's take a look at history, because usually history teaches us a lesson. And this is actually tax history that lasts a little over 100 years. So income taxes have been around since 1913. And you can see in the late 20s, taxes were at the lowest ever. The Great Depression hit and they went high and went up all the way to 94%. We can't even imagine that today. So back then, if somebody made over $200,000 a year, above that 200, they would only keep 6 cents on the dollar. That was true. All right, and then taxes started coming down again, and you can see in the late 70s, this is when the tax deferred plans were born, the 401ks, the IRAs, and so on. So it made sense to say, well, don't pay your taxes when the highest bracket is at 70%. Wait until you retire, because by the time you retire, tax is going to be a lot lower. And where are we today? Well, today, the highest tax bracket is 37%. And you can see this is well below the average, which is almost 60%. And here's just a few reasons for tax increases to come very soon. Social Security and Medicare going broke. The stimulus package, trillions of dollars, were basically given out to the American people. And so the government wrote checks for trillions of dollars and there is no money in the bank. Well, take a wild guess where that money is coming from. Well, from us, the taxpayers. And then the national deficit, and the list goes on and on. And by the way, leave a comment in the section below and let us know what you think about taxes. Where they're going to be 10, 20, 30 years from now, or when you retire. Will be interesting to find out. All right, the next part here, we want to cover the rules. And like any other qualified plan, there are many rules to a Roth IRA. So let me go over them, because some of them actually could even prevent you from contributing to a Roth IRA. The first one is there is a limit as to how much you can put in. So if you are under 50 years of age, the total you can put in per year is $6,000. And if you're 50 and above, the maximum is $7,000 a year. Also, you have to have earned income, like for instance, a W-2 or a 1099. If you get just pension money, Social Security, rental income, dividends, all of that does not qualify as earned income, meaning you wouldn't be able to contribute into it. And then here's the kicker. If you make too much money, you are not allowed to contribute. Now, what does that mean, too much money? Well, in the eyes of the IRS, if you're married and you're filing jointly, if combined you're making over $208,000, and if you're single or filing separately over $140,000, again, you're not eligible to contribute into a Roth IRA. And then there's two more rules. Number one, the 5-year rule. So you have to have the Roth IRA for at least 5 years before you take money out. Otherwise, not all of the money would be tax-free, and you actually pay taxes on the gains, and there might also be a potential penalty from the IRS. And then the last rule here is 59.5, meaning you have to be at least 59.5, again, to access all the money tax-free. If not, again, you pay taxes on the gains as well as a 10% penalty from the IRS. And I think whenever there's something good for us, the people, right, then there are limitations. And as you can see, the Roth IRA has quite a few of them. And here's my last insight, and it's a little known secret, which is that there's actually an alternative to the Roth IRA, which has a lot less limitations. And who could benefit from this Roth alternative? Well, for instance, people who want to contribute more than the $6,000 or the $7,000 a year, like high-income earners, business owners, or individuals who just plain catch up. Then also individuals or couples who earn too much money, because remember, if you're earning over 140 or 208,000, if you're a couple, you don't qualify to contribute into a Roth IRA. And then also people who want to tap into strategies which have been used by the affluent for decades. And so remember to check out our next video on Roth IRA strategies for high income earners, and you will discover some really interesting things. Okay, let's do a little recap and our takeaways of today. Remember, with a Roth IRA, you pay taxes on the money going into your account. Contributions are not tax deductible. Withdrawals, however, are tax-free once you reach retirement age, including the gains. Your money inside of the Roth grows based on the investment company or the strategy you choose. So you can choose a strategy that's more aggressive or more conservative, depending on what your risk tolerance is. If you think taxes will be higher in the future, then mathematically, it makes sense to contribute to a Roth IRA. And also know the rules. Remember, contributions are limited to $6,000 or $7,000 a year. If you earn too much money, unfortunately, that doesn't work for you. And then there's the 5-year rule and the 59.5-year rule. And lastly, there is a Roth alternative for high income earners that really exists. And what's next? Well, very simple. Check out our video about how this Roth alternative works and why planning for tax-free retirement is so important. And lastly, check out also our video about other tax-free retirement strategies which can help you pay way less taxes in retirement if you plan it the right way.
All right, so that's it for today for my insights on Roth IRAs.
Thank you, Daniela. I hope you found this information valuable and have a much better understanding on how Roth IRA works.
If you like this video, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the bell to be notified when we upload new videos every week. And please share this information with your friends and family. And lastly, if you like what you saw today, click the link below to become a client so we can further help you create your very own personal infinite retirement plan. And always remember, knowledge is power, especially when it comes to your finances.